largely for people who don't know Manto. It's my way of introducing Manto to the world, but it's just not that. For me, it's more, what is more really important is to kind of invoke the Manto-ness in you. I've made it into a word. For me, Manto-ness or Mantoyat, as we say it in Hindustani, is a conviction and the courage to follow that conviction. He came from a place of truth. Some people say he was very arrogant and all of that, but that arrogance, which we understand as arrogance, actually came from a confidence, a strength you have when you know you are speaking the truth. It's not just about speaking your mind, but sort of fighting for something that's true, fighting for something that, you care about the world. You come from a place of compassion and the courage to uphold that conviction. You may have a conviction, but if you don't really have the courage to follow it through, then it's no point. So Manto-ness is our will or our desire to be more truthful. I'm trying to tell a story that I feel has moved me, and I know I'm not so unique, so I want to believe there are lots of people who care about what's happening, who want these kind of role models, who are not all good or bad, who are not we are not putting them on a pedestal. I'm not saying everything was great about him. I'm showing him with all his warts and blemishes. I think the way Manto would have liked to see himself shown, because that's how he saw life, he saw people. He felt the worst of people are redeemable and the best of people have their shadows. Right. And I think that's the reality. So I'm not trying to appease anybody. I'm just putting out a story and saying, take from it what touches you, what moves you, what you care for. If you feel, yes, I have convictions, I don't have the courage, draw that courage. Or if you feel, I don't have convictions, is it really important to really feel passionately about something? Then get inspired by it. Nawaz was on my mind from the time that I wrote the script. I in fact told him in 2013, when there was no script, I was still sort of weaving the story and reading and researching. And that's when I told him in the steps of Cannes, I was in the short film jury and he was there with the film. And I told him, I have this amazing role and you'll be crazy. Tell me. I said, I can't tell you now. And then he got it out of me, and when I told him Manto, he said, oh God, Manto, I'm a huge fan of Manto. I've done his plays in National School of Drama and I'll give you all the time in the world. I think he's brought so much truth to the character. He's got a huge range, as we all know. And there's something about his eyes that I felt was so compelling, and they were like he had lived life, and which Nawaz has. He's gone through a lot in his own life, and so had Manto. Manto died at 42, but he had gone through so much, and he took the whole partition so personally. Right. That he was extremely, extremely sensitive. Right. And I felt I needed a sensitive human being to portray that. I think today artists are self-censoring, which is sad, because truly great art can't flourish if we create our own boundaries. We need to be responsible, but responsible coming from a place of truth, not from, oh, I need to be careful because someone's going to think that I am stepping on their toes. We don't have to do things out of fear. We have to do, in fact, things out of conviction. Yes, what to keep, what not to keep was a challenge, because Manto was very prolific. I had actually thought of 10 years of his story. So it was 1942 to 52. But there was so much material, it kept getting narrower and narrower, and now it's only 4 years. But the 4 most crucial and most tumultuous years, when the partition happened right in the middle, and also Manto, who was so in love with Bombay, had to leave and goes to Lahore, and why those changes, and why did he decide, why did he not come back? Right. And it also deals with a very intimate, personal journey of a writer. Right. What is it that pains a writer? Why does a writer write? What does he write? Why is Manto so special as a writer? Right. What is his raw truth? All of those, hopefully in subtler ways, have been addressed. We think activism is like you follow someone, you click someone, you do a petition. So I'm not a cynic. I think everything matters. In whichever way, if we can express solidarity with people who are doing good work, it's all good. But at the same time, having sort of met a lot of genuine, hardcore, grassroots level activists, people who've really given their lives for causes, I feel like we are still armchair people who are kind of, but at least
activism.
I won't even say that big a word, but like we're just trying to be good human beings. We're trying to make our own lives more meaningful. Like, for instance, Manto was tried for obscenity 6 times, and every single time he fought it, because he believed that it was worth fighting for what true literature is or what art is, and why art cannot be deemed as obscene just because you take a word or a sentence out of context. So he fought against censorship, something that we are also kind of grappling with, right?
Yes.
He talked about identities which were beyond national and religious and caste and whatnot. That's what's dividing us today, and not just in India or Pakistan, but world over. So I think he's just so relevant.
Right.
It was my way of responding to what's happening around me,
Yes.
and sort of taking refuge in Manto and saying, Manto can say it better.